everybody, Jenny here. We are talking Welcome to Plathville. We are in season 6. This is episode 2. Now, I thought this episode lacked and was a lull from last week, but yet somehow 3.5 pages of notes, and I only had 2 last time. So we'll see. I thought this was going to be very short. We'll see what I have to say. We start off with Olivia and Ethan still in the apartment discussing the signing of the documents for the divorce. So we just have Ethan saying, I just can't accept this. I can't accept this divorce. I thought it was going to be different. After we saw each other, I thought you'd change your mind. And I'm like so frustrated thinking, but Ethan, the reasons you guys were going to divorce haven't changed. So if she changed her mind, that doesn't change anything. You're still in the same problem. Ugh. And he doesn't really respond to her. He just has that blank.
Use your words.
I don't know if he's really not processing what to say or if he's scared to share his emotions because he never really has. I don't know. A therapist could evaluate it, but it's really getting frustrating to me. It's like he's really emotionally stunted, but that's just the outside looking in. I don't know. I'm over the blank stares though. I want somebody to shake him and say, speak. I will say I was impressed that Olivia was slowly trying to walk him through it and be understanding. I think she did a really good job of not being as mean as she was the day before when she was there. She wasn't so kind to him at that point. So, I mean, she learned I need to come at this from a different angle. And so she was the softer, gentler Olivia, which I thought was going to work and he was going to sign the documents, but he just in the end said that he couldn't. He wasn't ready. She told him that dragging this out is going to make it harder, which I think I agree with. And so at this point, I was kind of like, just sign it and be done with it. I mean, how much stuff do they possibly have in that document to divide and figure out? So I don't know if I don't think it's a matter of figuring out assets, which is, I think, a situation with Barry and Kim and their divorce in terms of like really trying to divvy stuff up fairly. I think it's just a matter of him not being ready to say, I'm divorced. Olivia shares that his inconsistency in his decision-making confirms her decision. She said that was a big problem in their relationship in general, that he was just very inconsistent. I don't know all the inconsistencies, but I can see him appearing inconsistent at times because sometimes he talks and he shares and he says things, but true feelings, I wonder if he ever really shared his happy emotions with her, his love with her, if he put those into words at all. I mean, because he didn't stare at her when she's like, I love you. He didn't, he'd be like all smiley and I love you too. I don't know if this is just difficult, hard things, sad things that he can't deal with. I'm not sure. But maybe that's where some of the inconsistencies come from. I mean, the only other inconsistency would be the fact that he wanted to see his family that we saw on the show. And that he went back to saying, I want to see my family again. But it had been 1.5 years. I mean, that's understandable. Not denying it though. Because I think sometimes also he would say what Olivia wanted to hear. I think he was so smitten with her. He would do almost anything for her because 99% of the people in the world will not cut off their family for the relationship with their spouse. They would tell their spouse,
Kick rocks.
I was in that situation once. I was dating somebody and they were saying that they didn't really like my family members. And I'm like, well, you know what? They're mine. I claim them as my own. And if you can't get along with them, we're done right here and right now. They're a part of my life, whether you like it or not. They're not like friends that I picked up at the bar. So that's on him for following what she wanted during that time. But at any rate, she has moved on. And she basically lets him know by nodding. When he's like, is there any chance? She's like, Are you sure? I mean, I don't know how you can move on. Have you really moved on? She's like, So I'm glad she told him. And she wasn't mean about it. That was good. We cut now to Kim and Ken down in Florida on 4-wheelers. Kim, the mother, with her boyfriend Ken. They're talking by a campfire. Ken says that basically everyone in the family has accepted him except for Barry. Barry's the one that got divorced. Barry didn't want the divorce. Barry's not going to accept her boyfriend. They're not even officially divorced yet. I know it's been 2 years, but I believe Barry to this day still thinks, or to this day of shooting, Kim might just come back. She might just realize, okay, he's been fun, but yeah, there's that man that I once loved, and there's part of me that does still love him, and getting the family back together would be a good thing, and that she might just come back. I really think he thinks that that's going to happen. Kim also said, I just want us to all be friends together, so that we can all hang out and what. No, this is never going to happen. You just need to get to the point that you all can be in the same room and it's not awkward for the kids. That should be your goal. She said that Barry's not going to accept Ken until he gets a new girlfriend. I don't think Barry's ever going to accept Ken. He'll deal with him, you know? Accept makes it seem like, oh, Kim, make sure you bring Barry with you. I don't know. I mean, because Barry's not doing anything mean to Ken. He's just not really excited about him, understandably. I do agree, though, that Barry needs a girlfriend. I wrote down here that Kim said, I just want us all to be friends and talk and be adults, like hang out. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. No. We cut to now Barry back at home. So Mariah and Ethan and Lydia and Barry are all together and they're playing a game because the 3 little kids are down in Florida with Kim. Which is interesting because Kim was just filmed with only Ken. So I guess the oldest of the 3 girls was watching the other 2. She only has them a week on, a week off. Why would she do any shooting with just Ken during that time? I would be like, absolutely not. I'll do things with my kids on the week I have my kids. Makes me disappointed in Kim. It does. Moving on. So as I mentioned, they're back and the older kids are all playing games, and then Ethan walks in. He ends up coming from Minnesota. Decided, well, Olivia went back to California. He didn't want to be alone, so he decided to go down there and visit his family in Georgia. And he comes in and they're asking him how things are going, and we get the Ethan stare again. TLC is like poking the bear with this. I swear they probably are doubling, tripling, or quadrupling the amount of time he's actually staring and just keeps playing it on the show. I hope they are, because it's really a lot. In his interview, he says, I don't want to bother them with my problems. And I'm like, really? Why? Mariah shares her problems with you. Isaac shares his problems with you. Micah shares his problems with you. Barry shares your dad shares his problems with you. Why can't you share your problems with them? I don't believe that's the real reason. I don't want to burden them. I don't think that's true. I think that's an excuse for his inability to put emotions to words. Again, I'm not a therapist. What do I know? From the outside looking in, as a speech language pathologist, this is how I assess what I see. We cut to Olivia in California with her sister. Both of them have broken up with their long-term relationships. Her sister was dating that one guy that we saw last season for like 6 years. So they broke up. Olivia broke up with Ethan, and they both moved to California. Not in the same area, I don't even think, because she's like, you have to come to my house sometime. It made it seem like, I know Olivia's in LA. Her sister, Lydia Grace, I'll call her, because Lydia is also one of the siblings in the Plath family. So Lydia Grace, Olivia's sister, Olivia, the soon-to-be ex-wife of Ethan. We have all these extended people that I don't really need to see. I didn't really care about the scene, but anyway, they went to a tarot card reader, I believe it was. Yeah, they went to a tarot card reader. Before that, they were just in the apartment talking about how promiscuous Lydia Grace is and how Olivia's like, I just want a relationship. I don't want to just go to bars and pick up guys and sleep around. And she kept pointing to the huge box of condoms on the counter of Olivia Grace's apartment. Nevertheless, they don't live together. They live in different spots, and Lydia Grace promiscuous. Olivia, well, they just officially broke up a couple months ago. Well, Lydia Grace, I think, only broke up a couple months ago as well. All right, cut to Mariah. She currently is waitressing and bartending at a restaurant that's in Tallahassee. So it's a 45-minute drive from the home family where she's living right now, back at home in Cairo, Georgia. But she said it's worth it for the 45-minute drive because, it gives her something to do and she's saving up money. She said that it also forces her to be social, and her default is that she would just stay in her bedroom at home and not go anywhere or see anybody. So it's good for her to get out. Part of her moving on and moving forward. We go back to the house. Ethan is trying to explain his situation with Olivia. And this is probably some of the most awkward television I've ever seen.
Me and Olivia are getting a divorce. I was kind of hoping something maybe would have changed after the summer, but I've asked her if we can give it another go, and I guess that's a no, so.
Shouldn't be so hard on just Ethan, because all the kids are this way, which means the parents are probably this way, because where else would they learn it from? We just don't talk about emotions, apparently, in our family. Even Mariah doesn't chime in and say anything. She was the one I was most disappointed in, because she's always been really good about saying, oh my gosh, that must be difficult. I know how you feel. He announced officially they have been separated for a couple months and they're now going to get a divorce. Silence. So bizarre. Mariah, however, in her talking head said, I just didn't know what to say. It just hurts. I hurt for him so much. That's what you say. You say, I'm so sorry, Ethan. My heart hurts for you right now. I know what you're going through. I'm sorry. That's it. It's way better than silence. Way better than silence. Well, Barry eventually breaks the silence and he says, I'm sorry to hear that, Ethan. And then eventually Mariah and Micah also chime in and they all say, so sorry for what you're going through. If you ever need to reach out, come. I love that Barry also told Ethan the same thing he told Mariah, and that's open door policy, come whenever you want. I'm guessing Ethan is going to move back home too. I kind of hope he does. He loves Cairo, Georgia. He loves the small town. He loves the auto place where he worked, where he would fix up trucks and cars. It's his vibe. It's his jam. That's him. It's not Olivia, it's him. So Olivia went to California, that's her, that's him. They should just go back and do them. You do you, boo. All right, where are we? Oh, I really like how Micah said, call me absolutely anytime that you need to talk, or if you need me to come out there, I'll jump on the next plane and come at any point. That was nice. Barry did tell Ethan, well, you know, you did everything you could to make it work. I'm like, except communicate. I mean.
Tomatoes, you know.
I don't know. It's one thing he still didn't really do. One tiny little thing, communication. I get that Barry's trying to be supportive here, but I just want to say, stop, Barry, stop, let it go. Just support this along the way. None of the people in that room ever liked Olivia, and they all felt that Ethan changed significantly. Well, he did. He cut off his family. I mean, he did change. But Barry made the comment, it's good to see him sitting here talking and laughing and joking. We just haven't seen that side of him for so long. So, like, I just feel like, this just, okay. I've said it 1,000 times. Break up, move on. Now, Ethan said he wasn't ready to sign the papers when Olivia was there the other day, and so he didn't. And Barry told him, don't rush it if you're not ready. Kind of contradicts what I said earlier in terms of, yeah, just do it and get it over with. But it is true, you don't want to have regret later. I think Barry's in a different situation because they're dealing with finances. I don't think Ethan has to deal with any of that. I don't think they have that much. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for that one. I can see both sides of the coin. I really can. My gut says just sign it and go, because I just feel like we're beating a dead horse here. But on the other hand, it's a permanent decision that affects the rest of your life, so make sure you know what you're doing when you do it. And he doesn't want to do it, so he needs to get to the point that he understands he does want to do it deep down inside. So now we get to the tarot card reader. Olivia says that people in her past would tell her that doing this would be an occult practice. She said that she's not sure if it is. She doesn't know. She can't talk to something until she experiences it. which is such a dumb statement. That's not true. It's such a Gen X speak, right? It sounds good on the surface if you don't analyze the words at all. But let's just think about it for a second. Do we really have to experience everything before we make a decision on it? Do we have to murder somebody whether we know if we're going to enjoy doing that or if we should do that? Do we have to have an affair to know whether we should or shouldn't do it, or if we'd like it or if we wouldn't? Do we really need to experience it? Do you have to be in an orgy? Do you have to commit a crime? No, I don't think we have to experience everything in life to intellectually know whether we should or should not do it. Go to a library, read a book, make a decision then. Anyway, she's decided that going there is going to help her decide if it's right or wrong, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if she ever decided in the end if it was right or wrong either. Olivia said part of it she agreed with and part of it she didn't agree with, which is pretty on, you know. If you're going to guess things, generic, basic things, you might get about 50% of them right. So that appeared to be a waste of money. I did feel bad for her at this one point, though, because she said her youngest brother was killed unexpectedly, which is very sad. And that was just recent. It was right when she was going through the separation and trouble with Ethan. So she went back home, as did Lydia Grace, her sister. And the two of them are estranged from the family now and not following any of the practices. Maybe some others are as well. I don't know. But she said that when she was there at the funeral, it was very sad, and that she could see all of her family members who still had a faith had this sense of calmness, that they knew he was going to a place that was good, and so that gave them some peace. And that because she has walked away from her faith and doesn't believe in it anymore, what do you do if you don't have a faith? When somebody dies, it just ends. Like, what do you do with that? And it's so sad. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. How scary would everything be in life? I mean, because anytime you get in the car, if you get in a car accident, like, where do you go if you don't make it to your destination point? How frightening it would be if you didn't have a faith and a belief of where you're going afterwards if you get diagnosed with cancer. It made me really feel for her in that moment, and I'm like, wow. And she was really struggling. She's like, I just don't know. I don't know what to do with any of this. It made me sad that she saw people who in tragedy were able to cope with it and have a peace about it. And that wasn't something she was attracted to. She was kind of jealous of it, it appeared, but she was also snarky about it because she referred to their religion as their crutch to get through life, as opposed to a whole faith and a principle that you follow. Like, a belief and a faith is very different from a crutch. It was sort of a mean, snarky comment, which would be offensive to many people who are of faith. And I am of faith. I didn't take offense to it because I just know that she's working through stuff. She's young. She's searching. She's trying to justify the decision that she made to walk away. And so in order to do that, you have to make what you walked away from something bad. You can't justify walking away from something good. So in order to make it bad, well, there's many ways to do that, but one of the ways would be to degrade it. And by calling it a crutch, that would be degrading it. And I just think that's where she is right now. That's what she has to do to continue to move on and try to find something else. I wrote, I just see her as having a lot of questions, a lot of wondering. I guess this is her seeking journey. The things that were things that she agreed to, though, were so generic. She said, have you had abandonment in your life? A lot of people have. Abandonment comes in many different ways. Something that was very close to you, even if it was a pet, a relative, a very close friend who passed away, it becomes abandonment. The choice to leave you, abandonment. A breakup, abandonment. Like, abandonment in many different ways. Sometimes just emotionally void people, abandonment. Yeah, let me count the ways. So it was kind of funny listening to her. Like, oh, okay. And then she said, your partner is stuck in his ways and needs to grow. That's about 90% of men in America. She had a pretty good shot of getting that one correct, too. I will say she did have some specifics. Let's see how legit this lady is, right? She said that she will only have one marriage in her life and she'll have 2 kids. Now, that doesn't mean she's going to go back to Ethan. She can just have 2 kids with some other guy and not get married to him, right? But she did say that Olivia and Ethan will both go on to have other relationships, but in the end, none of them will work out. And in 2 years' time, they will come back together. Now, there was a piece of concrete information. The only concrete information that was in there was that piece right there. And the fact she will have 2 children. But, I mean, that's the national average. So, I mean, again, pretty good chance that she's going to get it right there. So the only nugget of information that we have to go on to see, we have to wait 2 years to see if it comes true. But according to this tarot card reader, the card said in 2 years' time, she's going to get back together with Ethan after both of them experience other relationships and realize they're wrong. We'll see. That was the end of the episode. It was okay. It was okay. Not a huge fan of following Ethan's soon-to-be ex-wife's sister on the show. Don't care. So there was a hunk of it that I didn't care about. Boy, it'd be interesting to do a deep dive on why this family doesn't communicate. Is it just their parents aren't good at it themselves? Kim seems to communicate, but maybe she never shares her emotions. I don't know. They can't all be taking on Barry's personality, can they? He was gone at the office all the time. Kim was home raising all the kids and homeschooling them. She was with them all the time, but she doesn't seem to be that void in her face when she needs to communicate with people. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. I don't know where it comes from, but it's pretty pervasive in the family. Mariah doesn't have it. Who else doesn't have it? Well, she's the only blatant one that doesn't have it. All the rest of them have it, but it's a continuum. Some are just better than others. Ethan's at the lower end of sharing emotions and feelings. Okay, just wanted to point that out. That's all I have for today. You take care. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.